Hey, good morning, leaders. Hey, first I want to thank all of you who took time to fill out a survey over the last couple of weeks. We appreciate the feedback. We read through every survey we received back, and we want to get better. We want to grow both of these videos and how we are striving to encourage and equip you in your ministry, in your area of leadership. We're starting today a new series, if you will, talking about spiritual leadership. What does the Bible say about leadership? And today I want to share with you one, I think, really key foundational idea. And here it is, that ministry leaders, this is you and I now, ministry leaders should set the pace in the church in the area of prayer. We should set the pace in the church in this area. Now, here's the thing about prayer. We all know it's important. We know God invites us to it. We know He calls us to it. We know He commands us to pray. But sometimes we just don't pray. Sometimes it's just the habit's not there, and we don't have the prayer life like we know we want to have. Sometimes we talk about things like busyness, and busyness crowds out prayer. I'm reminded of a story of Martin Luther. You may have heard his name. He was used 500 years ago or so with the Protestant Reformation, guys using his life in powerful ways. And he was talking about how his life, he had so much going on, and his strategy for the next day in light of all the tasks. And this guy's leading a movement. He's a busy guy, but what was his plan for the day ahead with all the work he had? Here's the quote. He said this: work from early till late. He said, I have so much to do that my plan is I shall spend the first 3 hours of my day in prayer. We don't think that way, but this was his plan. I have so much to do. I'm carving out the first 3 hours just to spend with God in prayer. See, here's the bottom line, is that the people in the Bible that God used in a powerful way in leadership were all people of prayer. This was true of David, this was true of Peter, this was true of Moses, etc. It's even true of Jesus. I mean, Jesus himself sets for us this beautiful example of the importance and the priority of prayer. Like, for example, in Luke chapter 5, verse 16, it says this: but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. See, often, this was a habit for him. He did this all the time. This was a pattern in his life to withdraw and spend time in prayer. We also know from Luke chapter 6, verse 12, that Jesus spent full nights alone with God in prayer. We know from Mark chapter 3, verse 35, that Jesus often got up before the sun was up, and he would spend time in prayer before the day's activities and ministries that he had. And so as we close, I want to ask you this question: how is your prayer life? How is this area of your life going today? And then more specifically, how is your prayer life in relationship to the ministry you get to lead? So if you're leading a small group, how's your prayer life? How are you doing praying for the people in your group? The people in your group, they're gifts from God. And so how are you doing praying for them on a consistent basis? And what's your strategy for that? Or if you lead a ministry team, how's it going praying for the people on your team and praying for the work you're seeking to accomplish? What's your strategy in place for that? See, being the leader means that you should be the lead prayer. That's the key there. Because here's the principle, here's why this is so important, is that your spiritual influence will never outstrip your prayer life. And so let's commit, starting today, if we haven't already made this a habit in our lives, that we are going to be men and women of prayer, praying for the ministries that we get to lead, praying for the people in the ministries, praying for the people who aren't yet in the ministry, but you're trusting God to bring them, praying for spiritual fruit. So would you take a few minutes today and pray? And would you do that again tomorrow and the next day and the next week, building a new habit, building a strategy for how you're going to pray for the people in your life and in your ministry. Hey, thanks for who you are, praying for you and appreciate you. Thanks for all that you do. God bless you today.